everybody. We're here. We're uh only 11 minutes off time.
I mean, that's a
Why?
personal record for us.
Yeah. And today we are talking about a pretty interesting matchup. I think this is a relatively new one. I don't see a lot of people talking about it, but I think it's really cool. We're going to be talking about Pain from Naruto versus N from Pokemon. So today, uh, you know me, I'm Molak. Today I'm actually running the stream. Sherm is also here,
Oh,
but he's just here chilling.
Hello?
Oh, huh?
Hello, Molak.
Wait, am I?
Oh,
Oh,
hello. I'm sure I'm here.
Yeah,
wait,
this
did I
matchup
disconnect?
is causing us a lot of pain.
I think you briefly disconnected for a second there.
Wait, did I
Yeah,
disconnect?
pain is a common theme with
You
this
are
matchup.
you froze for a second, but you're good now.
Oh, I'm good now?
All
I
right.
think for
Okay.
whatever reason your internet just died for like 5 seconds, then came back because you look fine.
Awesome. Cool.
For
That's going to be
those
awesome.
watching, you have no idea how many complications we had leading up to this cast trying to get it off the ground. It's been like delayed a couple times because either one person's busy or another. And then, just now I've had trouble turning on my mic before coming on here. And now this. It'll be a miracle if we can get through this without something else breaking.
We had
Yeah,
enough
man.
delays for several filler episodes.
All we know is pain.
Yeah, we had several filler episodes worth of stalling for this cast. No beach episodes though, unfortunately.
I can take or leave it.
It's the winter. Of course, there wouldn't be beach episodes. It's cold.
See, Kagura knows what's up.
That's true. All right, so today I'm Molak. I'm here. I'm streaming. I'm hosting. Today we also have Sherm.
Hi, I'm not hosting, but I'm here. I'm gonna have some fun.
We have the Kagurabachi.
Hello, I am massive SMT and Marvel fan.
Nice. And debating for Pain, we have Zoro.
Hello. Considering how much pain we're going through, I think I'm already off to a great start.
Yep. And I didn't say it before, but I'm going to be the one debating for N. So, with introductions out of the way, I actually, because I like this matchup a lot, I prepared ahead of time the connections for this matchup so people can better understand why this is a thing. So let me pull it up.
Please regale us.
I got you. All right. N and Pain are two characters who believe that the world is broken and that true peace can only be achieved through extreme change. Both were shaped by extreme suffering at a young age that caused them to create a distorted view on the world solely based on their own experiences. N was surrounded by N was constantly surrounded by abused Pokemon and believed that Pokemon and humans could never truly coexist and that separating them was the only way to create a better world. While Pain, after witnessing endless war and loss, came to believe that humanity would never understand peace without first experiencing overwhelming pain. Honestly, I think Pain was kind of right about that, but that's just my opinion. I'm not going to. Uh, to pursue their ideals, both became king like figures in their world. N was crowned the king of Team Plasma and was chosen by the legendary Pokemon Zekrom, who was worshipped as a god and used him to push his ideals on other people. While Pain, wielding the Rinnegan, called himself a Gon, ruled over an entire nation, and also founded and led the Akatsuki. Also to help push his ideals, and also started gathering the tailed beasts in order to gain more power to further push Pain on people. However, both N and Pain were actually manipulated by people who were using their ideals to assert their own agendas, Obito and Getsus. And while both of their ideologies were being used, they would be confronted by the actual main characters who would challenge their ideologies directly and defeat them, showing them that their worldview is flawed and that they need to change their ways.
Someone in the comments just said Pain did nothing wrong. And I know that this is a joke, but I'd like to remind anyone before they get too sympathetic that he has killed thousands of innocent people throughout the series.
Yeah,
Yeah,
He made the
his
Hidden Leaf
philosophy
Village a
is.
crater.
His basic philosophy is I will cause so much pain that the world will never want to commit violence ever again. So,
All right, Croat is
yeah.
lost in the stream while he's driving, so that's good to know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Alright. So,
I don't think N has done anything super bad, though. I don't remember. Did he ever do anything bad?
I
Not
think the
really,
worst he
'cause,
did
like-
was, yeah, he just separated people from Pokemon, but then he gave them back. So
Team Plasma as a whole did a lot of bad stuff, but
Yeah, but N
N's
personally has been
culpability
innocent
is
of
in
it.
question.
all right.
Yeah,
So
I know Getsis does a lot of bad stuff.
Getsis is
Oh,
terrible.
Getsis is a
is
real
a
piece of
monster.
work.
Getsis is actual dog water. He's awful.
And he also has the
He's
best
the
music in Gen 5.
Instead of like teaching his Pokemon return, they teach his Pokemon frustration with max
Yes.
unhappiness values.
Yes.
That tells you everything you need to know about him and Ed's upbringing.
All right.
I feel like that's
he's
going to
pretty
call
much
N's
60
intelligence
seconds.
into question that he never realized his father figure was abusing his Pokemon actively.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna pull up the 60 seconds. Zora, would you like to go first? Talking about pain.
Yeah. I'll give a quick intro to Pain.
All right. Let me. Do I use this? Yep. Video story.
You gotta say Payne's quote at the end.
All right. Wait. All right. 60 seconds. You're gonna go in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so Pain, real name Nagato, was a child that was born of the village of the rain. And when he was young, his entire world has been known as being struck by war. He lost some of his closest friends to it. So then he vowed, after seeing the harm of war, to bring about a pain so great that no violence will ever be done ever again, because he believes that pain is is something that is within human nature, something that always happens. So in his eyes, the only way people will respond is through the use of pain. And he has a bunch of different varieties of powers to commit this pain because of his almighty Renegon, which gives him a bunch of abilities that we'll go over. And just to give you an idea of his strength, he has once just soloed an entire village in Konoha. So yeah, I think he's gonna get this. Blech. I'm always bad at the 60 seconds.
I thought that was
Good.
I'll give
I need to
it.
start writing it down.
I'll give it a 7.
Damn, you're rating him?
We are now ranking the 60-second segments. That's
Oh,
worth
no.
1 point. Whoever has the better 60-second segment.
All right, I got this. All right. And go. All right. Natural Harmonia Gropius. Yes, that was raised, secluded in by Team Plasma, and he was
Oh.
raised only watching Pokemon suffer. And through this suffering, N believed that the only way to create a truly just world was to separate people from Pokemon. In order to do so, he became essentially a Pokemon master off screen. He kind of did the whole journey, but he's just because he can connect with Pokemon on a really fundamental level, much deeper than most other Pokemon characters, he was able to essentially not just beat the champion, but also stand up closely to like other legendary Pokemon. And you'll see as we go through this debate that while Pain might have some crazy abilities, N and his Pokemon are going to absolutely wash him.
Okay.
Okay, not about 60 seconds. I'll give that one an 8.
I'm winning. All right.
I guess like
For now.
a good starting question for me would be like, we kind of know, for anyone who knows or anyone who knows Pain and Nagato kind of knows their deal. Like they're pulling up with the 6 paths of pain. What does like N's arsenal look like for?
I know
we would give him for a death battle.
N is a Pokemon trainer, so he has a lot. He has Pokemon. My question is, what Pokemon is he bringing into this fight?
I'm glad you asked. So, N is a little trickier for most Pokemon trainers because he actually has a big bag of Pokemon. Like, let's say we did this because we know Ash versus Yugi just came out, right? So let's say we were to do it like Ash versus Yugi and we gave him every single Pokemon he ever had. We're not going to do that because I don't think that's fun. But just so you can get an idea. Oh, wait. I did it wrong. Whoops. Hang
Did
on. Let
what
me.
wrong?
I put it on OBS and not on Restream. Here we go. I have an
Oh.
image here.
Well, I
This
can
is.
see because I'm watching the stream, but I don't think
Yeah,
Kagura or Zoro can see it.
I know. All right, here we go. I put it on the Restream, so now everyone should be able to see it. So if you look at the screen, this is from the wiki. So N has. This is just a small sample of the Pokemon N has. The big one is that's the team N uses at the end of Pokemon Black. But the one that below is from Pokemon Black and White 2, where there's like a memory link feature where you can see N releasing Pokemon that he used to own. And technically he does like if you were to run a bet debate, he would technically have those Pokemon because when you get those Pokemon in the game from the memory link function, it says that that N was their original trainer. So we know that this is like a small sample of some of the Pokemon he would have. He also gets like this seasonal battle thing in Pokemon Black and White 2, where he just gets like so many different Pokemon for no reason. But so I like we could do like an Ash style army fight where he just throws all of his Pokemon at him. But for the sake of this debate, I decided to limit it to only Zekrom for one, because he has to have Zekrom or Reshiram, and these 5 Pokemon. That way, it's a nice, neat 6v6.
Have you put this roster together yourself?
Yeah, because these are all Pokemon he should have. We know he has Sigilyph because we see him have it in promotional material and Pokemon Masters EX. Zoroark and Darmanitan he always has in like cutscenes and stuff and in the anime. Kling Klang was on his final team in Pokemon Black, and Vanillix was also on his final team. So these are all Pokemon he should reasonably have.
All right, not a bad team. So you have the 6 Pokemon. This is it for
Yep.
Pokemon, right?
Yep,
All
and
right.
Zekrom, but we'll get to Zekrom much later, because, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
To anyone wondering, I was actually the one who was kind of helping figure out whether we were going to use Zekrom or Reshiram because Pokemon generally kind of keeps it vague to which one N generally has.
Yeah.
And throughout my research, I found that in most situations in the manga and in the trading card game, they portray him with Zekrom more often than not. And him having Reshiram is a lot more situational. There's one funny trading card I found which implies he has both Reshiram and Zekrom, which, as far as I can tell, has never been a thing before. But yeah.
No,
So
it's always
based on
been-
just most manga appearances, Zekrom seems to be like the main one for N.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, although if you can make a reasonable argument that, if he had only Reshiram, then that would give him more of an edge against Pain specifically, then I'll allow it, just as long as you don't use arguments of like him having both at the same time, since that's something he doesn't really do.
That'd be
If we use comp N with the trading card game, we'd have to use comp Pain, which would give him like video game multiversal scaling.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. But Moloch, one thing I do want to know: does N have any other talents aside from being a Pokemon trainer? Anything that could maybe help in this fight?
I mean, I guess if we're gonna start with if we're gonna start with N, then yeah, we can just talk about some of the stuff that N can do before we get to his Pokemon, because there actually is some stuff N can do, believe it or not. So let's start with the big thing, the thing that people know him for. Let me get the image. So with N, this is from the manga. And let me be clear. I'm only using the manga to back stuff up from the main games, okay? I'm mainly focusing on the main games because that's the canon stuff. I'm only gonna lightly touch on manga stuff for like supporting evidence, basically. So here you have N fighting Black, and what makes N so unique and special is he has the ability to just directly communicate with Pokemon. This is something that you don't ever see with any other trainer in the series. Well, except with Psychic Pokemon and Lucario, but those are different. Those are different. You know, those are different. Essentially, what this allows N to do is not only can he more on a fundamental level understand his Pokemon, but he can communicate and create strategies that most normal trainers can't because he can understand what they're thinking. Like actually what they're thinking. He doesn't even have to talk to them directly. He can just kind of look at them and he can just tell and like be like, okay, yeah, so you want to do this. Okay. And this gives him a natural edge over most other Pokemon trainers in his verse. And it also just allows him to connect with some of them on a deeper level. Like if he were to run into a random Pokemon in the middle of the fight, he could probably just convince it to help him jump pain. That's something he could probably do.
Unfortunately, well, we don't know actually. I'll save that thought for later.
You're not a debater.
Yeah,
Why are
yeah,
you
yeah.
giving thoughts for
Yeah,
later?
yeah.
Yeah. It's just I don't want to spoil anything on Payne's side.
That's fair.
If you know Zoro wants to bring up something and I accidentally bring up something before him.
I mean, I think I
Then,
know
you
what you're
know.
talking about, but we'll get to that when it's my turn.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people look at N, he's like, oh, but he's just kind of like a scrawny little kid. What could he do? Well, let me tell you. N, this is so stupid. So, you know how Pokemon trainers like Ash and some other ones, they do take attacks from Pokemon a lot, right? They take the Pokemon attacks, and some of those attacks can be really powerful. Like you have Pikachu's Thunderbolt. I think someone took a did someone take a Hyper Beam at one point? I don't remember.
I think that was also Ash. He
That
took
was
Yeah.
also
Dark
Ash.
Hyper
Well,
Beam.
Team Rocket
Yeah.
also somehow survives getting blasted over to Horizon every single episode.
Yeah. Team Rocket. Yeah, Team Rocket is nuts with durability. So, uh, N. So, like, let me explain what's going on here. Essentially, remember when so in order to get Zekrom, N had to get the Dark Stone. Let me get the picture of the Dark Stone. N had to get the Dark Stone and take it to the top of a tower so he can like essentially unleash Zekrom and then essentially just wield him like a mighty Pokemon. That's the Dark Stone. And in the games, you don't actually see the process of him getting Zekrom. In the manga, though, oh, whoops. In the manga, though, you actually do see it. And in the manga, N actually has to repeatedly go towards Zekrom. And because Zekrom is still pissed that he just woke up, he was attacking N, and N was just constantly getting back up and going towards Zekrom in order to try and tame it.
Is he kneeing him?
No, he's
Is
not.
he-
No, he's using like a Zekrom has. I don't want
Oh,
to talk about.
okay.
I don't want to talk about Zekrom yet, but Zekrom has like a electric aura thing that he uses.
Oh, he's like standing up and we just don't see the background. I thought that was like the nastiest
Yeah.
flying knee I'd ever seen.
That'd be
it does look
crazy.
like that. It does look like that.
No, not more
So,
like
yeah.
creating an electrical aura that's pushing him back.
Okay.
So
N,
Zekrom is
isn't-
aura
isn't-
farming.
Yeah, so N isn't gonna like die in one hit. N is like 100% among the peak Pokemon trainers in terms of like durability and stats. He's up there.
So,
J-Lag in the comments is saying N has apparently survived a mini Big Bang.
What?
We are listen.
Was this in the
listen.
manga?
We're jumping the gun. Let's wait. Let's wait.
All right.
Don't worry about that yet.
All
Fair
right
enough.
then.
I guess is there anything else, Moloch, or should we get on to see what Payne's up to?
Yep. Let's go to Pain because
All
If
right.
we keep going with N, we're gonna have to start talking about his Pokemon. I don't want to do that yet.
All right, Zoro. What
All
does
right.
Pain have?
All right, I'll just go over the basics before we go into any individual the path of pain. Can you bring up aura farming for me?
Yes, I can. Let me pull up your stuff. Uh-oh,
Cool.
Oh
I
my
can't
god.
find your stuff. Ugh, that's a shame. I'm just kidding.
Moloch, don't do this to me.
I got you. I got you. Here you go.
Uh, N versus Pain or farming. Who wins?
Damn,
Oh, we
it
still
is
have the
aura
Christmas
farming.
background. I never took the snow away. Oops.
Oh well.
I mean,
I'm
it's
just
still
now
winter, it
realizing
fits.
that.
All right, so as you can notice, there's not one person here, but 6. And that's because, as implied earlier with the whole 6v6 fight, the actual person, Nagato, is actually just a guy who's very malnourished. He's actually controls 6 other vessels through those black piercings. They're not just to make him look like a Hot Topic reject. No, they are chakra receptors made to transfer his chakra, which is like soul energy, into these vessels, allowing him to puppet all 6 bodies at once. And he does this through the Renegon. These are known as his 6 paths of pain. Each path will have its own unique ability, although it can be said that, he can channel any ability of the Renegon within any body. He just chooses to limit it from it just because it's simpler to control. There have been times where he's channeled other paths abilities through the main body, which is the one currently like kneeling down in summoning. But yeah, the basic idea behind these ones is that their basic style is basically to use these 6 bodies to overwhelm the opponent. Because when you have 6 bodies, you basically just jump them, attack from multiple different angles. They set up for each other's combo moves, basically creating situations where it's impossible to dodge from them. And to help with that, every line of sight that they can see, they have basically 6 fields of vision. And because they're all connected to the one guy puppeteering them, it gives him a wider range of things to see and basically gives them a better view of the battlefield than most other things. So say if you try to like blind one of them, or say you're focusing on one, or try to like sneak up on one, there are potentially 5 other ones watching each other's backs, making sure that any move you make does not go unnoticed. And to help with that, those black piercings, he can also make basically simple weapons out of them, because they're made out of his own chakra, so he can manifest their own like chakra receptors, which basically just act as like long spikes and swords that he can just use to impale people, pin people down, and just have more control over the opponent to pin you down so that they can all jump you at once.
Now, Zoro, how skilled
Yes.
of a fighter would you say Pain is?
I would say he's one of the better at taijutsu, which is like the term of like martial arts within the Naruto series. Some of his bigger feats of like, destroying most of the village come from his ninjutsu, which I'll get into a little later when we go down each path. But, just facing against Jiraiya, like, without using his jutsu, his 6 paths, like around 3 to 4 of his paths, were able to overwhelm Jiraiya into busting out his more deadlier techniques. And the only reason why he was able to stop them is with Genjutsu. And even then, that only momentarily paused them before he ended up killing Jiraiya. So he is very skilled at hand-to-hand combat and was able to even keep up with Naruto in his 6-tailed, 9-tails mode.
I will say,
We'll
I don't
get
know
to
how.
more- Oh, go ahead.
I don't know how useful hand-to-hand combat will be if you're fighting a floating cog.
Well,
Hands to hand-to-hand with.
Well, here's the thing. Kling Klang is a steel type, which are weak to fighting type attacks. So,
That is true.
that is true.
That is true.
Yeah.
However,
Actually,
Kling Klang
more that I
isn't-
think
oh,
about it, Zoroark, Vanilla X, Cling Clang, half of his team is weak to fighting type attacks.
Well,
Mm.
that's what you might think. Let's start with Vanillix, actually. You would think that. You would think that. You in particular, yes, you specifically, in the audience, you would think that, wouldn't you? I was trying to pull up
Well,
at the same time
to
as
be
the English
fair, I'm not
pronunciation.
sure how you're supposed to punch an
This
ice
is the
cream
point where
cone.
you would bring up the evidence to refute the claim that you're saying we all believe in.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
So, Vanillix, as you may have, they briefly talked about in Ash vs. Yugi, but Vanillix has the innate ability to create gigantic violent blizzards. But this is an example from the manga with a Vanillish, and Vanillix is the evolved version of it, and he also has the same ability, so it's fine to give him this. En's Vanillix has the ability Ice Body. And what this does is it basically allows Vanillux to use the blizzards somewhat as a cloak. While the blizzard is up, not only can he fully conceal and hide himself, but he'll be constantly healing the entire time while the blizzard is up. And now you might be thinking, okay, well, that's just a blizzard. Pain can just the blizzard away, right? And you're right, he could push it away, but then Vanillix can just snap it back. And even worse than that, I have to ask you a question, Zoro, to reaffirm something. All of the 6 paths of pain, they're dead bodies, am I correct?
Yes, they are all corpses that have been basically puppeted through these chakra sensors.
Now, here's some interesting thing. In the world of Pokemon, the frozen ability, when you freeze things, it does not matter how hot you are, you can still get the frozen status. As you can see here, obviously this can happen in the games too. I just used the manga example because it's funny. I even named it Frozen Ham. Uh, Vanillix was able to fully freeze Embor, who, if you haven't been keeping up with the recent games, you guys know that Embor recently got a Mega Evolution, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, but
Yes.
this is from the manga where he doesn't Mega Evolve.
Yes, but I'm bringing it up because in that Mega Evolution, Embor was able to produce temperatures of, and I quote, over 100,000 degrees Celsius.
yeah, but that's his
Embor,
mega evolution, right?
that is his Mega Evolution. However, that was just because he was able to concentrate it on the new weapon he got. This implies that Embor, even when he is not evolved, can reach extremely high temperatures, but he still froze anyway. This means that Pain and his body, since they are dead bodies, do not have any heat. They would be the most vulnerable to the cold that Vanillix creates. And they would probably be frozen even more sooner than Embor was, when Embor is creating this crazy heat.
And if I remember correctly, Embor basically has like a fire scarf. And if this manga panel, it seems to be implying that the
Yes,
fire
the
itself
fire is frozen.
froze.
Yes, the fire
Wow.
was frozen.
Huh.
All right.
It's not like the fire disappeared. The fire itself has like a coating of frozenness over it.
Yes, Vanillix
Um,
froze fire.
Yeah, that's pretty cold.
Can the Rinnegan see through a blizzard?
I mean, the Renegon doesn't. It's an evolution of the Sharingan, but it doesn't have any of like the Sharingan abilities of like extrasensory chakra vision in movement predictions. It really is just its. But it does allow him 6 fields of vision. So while one path might be obscured in the blizzard, if any of them are outside the field of the snow, they'd be able to kind of see what's going on, see the Vanillix doing it, and be able to react to it just because, you could have 2 of them in the back outside the main conflict, and, the ones right there in the storm would still be able to see it because, the one puppeting them would be able to see everything else going on and have the bodies react appropriately.
Yeah.
Would they? If they're like covered by a blizzard, both one in the
It's
blizzard would be blind, and then the other people could not see the one that is in the blizzard. So it could be like a Looney Tunes. He's in a smoke cloud getting beat up, and no one can see what's happening.
I do want to ask something, Molok.
Yeah.
So when Pokemons do their special attacks, is it like a resource or some type of energy they have to use, or any stamina?
Yes, Pokemon do this is a weird thing depending on what version of Pokemon you use, because like obviously in the games they have PP, haha, and they have like a certain set of PP that they can use for a move, and but just in the manga and anime they just have flat stamina, right? They don't really have PP. They just do their moves until they're tired, basically.
Yeah, so it's not limitless then.
It's not limitless, but with Vanillix specifically, he's going to be constantly healing with the Blizzard up. So his stamina is going to be a bit different from the others because he'll just constantly keep rejuvenating himself as long as the Blizzard's there.
All right. Well, aside from Vanillix, is there any other Pokemon that have anything useful?
All of them. That's why I picked the Pokemon I did. I think all of them are going to be very useful in this fight. And I think one that's probably going to get looked down on, but I think will be very useful is Darmanitan. So with Darmanitan, first of all, Darmanitan can create internal fires at 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hotter than the surface of the sun. Darmanitan, Darmanitan can probably melt a pain body if he touches one and like gets hot enough. He could realistically melt one. And he's probably going to be like the second most offensive fighter. Well, okay. Excluding Zekrom, he'll be the second most offensive fighter that N has. So he'll be the one laying hands on people. And Darmanitan, he's a pretty good fighter. He can keep up with a lot of the other martial arts type Pokemon in the games, like Lucario, like what's that one? The one blue one from Gen 5? Zeke? Zach? You know
What?
what I'm talking about,
What?
right? There's a
From Gen
blue.
5?
Yeah, in Gen 5, there's a
Throw and
poke
sock?
Throw and sock. Thank you. Yeah, those martial arts guys. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, he can fight a lot. He can fight against those guys. So he's no slouch when it comes to martial arts. So he's going to be laying the hands on them too. And obviously, it says that he's strong enough to destroy a dump truck with a punch. And while that is impressive, you can get Darmanitan much higher to some of. I don't want to get into strength yet, but Darmanitan can get much higher than dump truck level, so don't worry about that.
I was a little worried that that was the peak and be a bit
Yeah,
of a bad.
yeah.
Oh,
But what's
As
most
Pain,
interesting? I'm sorry. What most interesting about Darmanitan though, specifically N's because N has the ability. Darmanitan has the ability Zen mode, which when it takes a lot of damage, it'll turn into a psychic type, and it'll actually start fighting people mentally with psychic abilities. So midway through the fight, if it takes enough damage, it's gonna go from a hands-on beat your ass boxer to actually I'm gonna lick back and use my brain to attack you.
does he have like telekinesis or something?
More or less, yeah. He basically just becomes like utter psychic type Pokemon, basically.
okay.
Yeah, basically goes from a physical attacker to a special attacker.
Yep.
That could maybe interact interestingly with the gravity manipulation, potentially. Has Pain ever fought a gorilla?
He has fought things bigger than a gorilla.
That's fair.
I guess while we're on the topic of pain, is there any? Could you explain a little bit of the paths and what they can bring to the table?
Of course. And first, I want to respond to something I've been sitting on since the beginning of the cast. You said that this was going to be a 6-on-6. I hate to break it to you, but this is going to be more like a 6x13. Can you pull up anything you can do?
Sure. Hang on. Hang on. Here you go.
All right. So, I say this because anything you can do, I can do better. So, as you can see, one of Pain's paths is the path of animals, which allows him to basically gives him access to a lot of summons, and he can have all of these active at once. These summons include the two you see here, the giant drill bird and the giant multi-headed dog, as well as others such as the giant ox, the giant centipede, the giant rhino, and the giant snake-tailed chameleon, and the giant crustacean, which is a crab. But these are all like kaiju size. Like each one of these summons are about the size of Zekrom, and Pain can summon these all at once. So not only are these just like 7 powerful bruisers that it takes multiple Anbu level ninja just to take one down. And those are like the elite secret service ninja of like the Hidden Lake.
Oh, the
So not
Anbu
only
are
do you need
fine.
multiple, huh?
Go ahead. Sorry. I'll go
Yeah,
ahead.
I know the Anbu don't get a lot of wins but lore scaling, they're like A rank ninjas. So not only does it take the top ranks of ninja just to take one of them down, but as you can see, each one of them have a Renegon eye. And these ones also give Pain extra fields of vision as he can see through all of his summons as well. So that gives him 7 more points of vision to give him field awareness. So even with the blizzard, like say he keeps the bird up in the sky and, have a few of them within the blizzard themselves, that's more awareness for him to not be jumped by things like, a smoke screen or, whatever is going on the field. As far as like bruisers go to match like Darmanitan, can you pull up Ashura at home?
Yep. There you go.
All right, this is the path of Ashura, and yes, you don't. That this does look like Ashura's Wrath, and that's kind of what this path is. This one allows Pain, or at least the body it's manifesting on, grow 2 additional sets of limbs, and it also allows him to manifest weapons onto this one, which includes that buzzsaw-looking thing, as well as a bunch more scientifically advanced ones compared to the Naruto series, including cannons, blasters, which is like a chakra-infused like laser blast, a cannon that comes out of the top of his head, and it also has 3 faces, 1 on the front, 2 in the back, which just adds to more awareness of like, I can see you sneaking up behind me if you try to get up on me. This is one of the more physically imposing paths of Pain and is usually on the front lines. And it is the most durable path because it has a mechanical internal body. So things like, there's not really a vital organ to shut it down. So it is a lot more durable than your typical path of Pain.
Isn't this the one that has like the Teen Titan Cyborg style like cannon arm and like missiles?
Yeah. That's what I was talking about, like the chakra blaster. He basically creates like Cyborg's cannon on his arm and starts blasting chakra like it was a laser.
Isn't this also the same one that lost to Konohamaru?
What?
Didn't Konohamaru beat one of the Paths of Pain?
He did beat one of them. I don't remember which one.
I don't think it was Ashura.
Okay.
I think it might have been Petra. And I'll get this out of the way. He's not going to be too relevant outside of just being like another body to fight with, but the Petra path absorbs and nullifies the effects of chakra, which isn't really relevant because,
Yeah.
No,
Pain doesn't have chakra.
Right, and in Pokemon don't really have chakra.
No.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
I mean,
They do have aura, but I don't think that counts.
Yeah. Like aura, chakra isn't really the same. So
Pokemon's powers are more biological based, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like I would say maybe if he had a Lucario, then maybe he'd be able to nullify the aura from it, but I don't think any of N's Pokemon specifically would be at a detriment for that path.
Well, I guess since you brought up the more cyborg metally pain, let me bring up my metal guy.
Fair enough. Go
For
ahead.
my metal guy, we have Kling Clang. Now, I know what you're thinking. Molek, why is there a Kling Clang on the screen? Now, I know it's funny that Kling Clang is like it's just cogs. It's not gonna do anything. Kling Klang's moveset allows for him to both be a powerful defender for N, but also gives him the ability to shoot off just absurdly strong attacks and also just be way more offensive than it has any right to be. One of his signature moves, which is I don't remember, is it called gear grind or grind gear?
Gear grind.
Yes, gear grind allows for Kling Klang to essentially double its speed and you can just constantly spam that move. But it also has moves like protect, which can even block some powerful attacks from legendary Pokemon. It has moves like Flash Cannon. It has moves like Hyper. Wait, can it learn Hyper Beam? Probably not, but it can.
Flash cannon.
Oh, Flash Cannon. Yeah, I said Flash Cannon. I don't know why I said Hyper Beam again. I meant Flash Cannon. Flash Cannon. It can learn moves like tons of thunder moves, which can paralyze foes, like Thunderbolt, like Static, like wait, no, it can't learn Oh, sorry, I'm getting all mixed up. You have no idea. I had to read through a lot of Pokemon stuff, okay? So if I get a little confused, sorry. Uh but yeah, Kling Klang is also going to be shooting out lasers constantly, and it's also just going to be boosting its speed and using Protect constantly. Because I think people sometimes too much imagine Pokemon in like a RPG, your turn, my turn setting. When realistically, the Pokemon are going to be running around doing just all kinds of stuff, especially since N can more or less communicate with them telepathically. They're just all going to be running around interchangeably boxing. So you could have Kling Klang just going around randomly protecting Pokemon, and the pains are not getting to protect. They're not getting to protect. I'm sorry.
Well, that is a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point with all RPG characters, actually, not just Pokemon. Like the turn-based RPG is just for gameplay most of the time.
Yeah.
Uh, in the universe,
Yeah.
the characters are actually moving very fast.
That is true, but protect only lasts for so long. There will be cooldown periods where it will be able to like let its guard down. So it's only a matter of time, just like waiting for it to go down before like two of the paths just jump them.
If only we had a blizzard up that would stop us from getting jumped.
All right.
Can N
Here's
see
the
if
thing.
anything if he's in the blizzard? I feel like that might be a disadvantage if he's using that to.
And doesn't need to see. He
Seconds.
trusts his Pokemon, and he can communicate telepathically. He's fine. And
Also, I feel it
he'll
doesn't take a tactical genius to be like. I don't want to debate for pain, but doesn't he have the ability to like flatten a really big area at once? I don't know if hiding's the best strategy.
Yeah. I
I mean,
was
that's
I was saving that for a little later. I was saving that path for last. So, do you want to know about the insta win conditions Kane has? Because he has two of them.
Sure, go ahead.
All right. I don't have a picture for this one, but I do have a picture for the second one. But so one of his paths is the human path, and it has a very simple ability on the surface. Once you once you grab an opponent with it, you're able to read their mind, and that could be useful if they all have a telepathic link to N. That if you read one of their minds, it might be able to let them know what the whole kind of what N is planning. Although the main thing about this technique is that once he's done reading the mind, he rips the soul out of the user of the victim he's using it on and then just kills them. So, yeah, I'll give you this. N could take a hit from a legendary, and it's going to take a lot more than that. Here's the thing, though. Can he resist having his soul ripped out of his body?
Oh, you're asking me? You're asking me?
Yes. Directly, yes.
Oh. Well, I'll be straight up. No, he does not have a resistance to that.
Yep. So all it takes is for him to let his guard down for one moment, for the human path to just go in, rip out his soul, And then, without a commander, the rest of his Pokemon are basically going to be a little less wear for wear off, but, even in that point, the goal is to kill N, so N is dead. And there is a second path that can remove a person's soul. And this is the Naraka path. Can you pull out the King of Hell?
Sure. Oh, I did it the wrong way again. Haha.
So could the human path also remove souls from Pokemon?
Yeah, it can remove souls from any living thing. And I will say this, Naruto and B were able to resist having their full soul ripped out. But, you need to have an extremely strong connection to, like, chakra in your soul in order to resist it being ripped out. And since N doesn't really have chakra or any kind of aura training, there's not really a reason to say that he'd be able to resist it as well as he could Zekron's attack. But right here is one of Pain's second most important techniques, the King of Hell. And this is summoned by his Naruto path. Once this guy is summoned, he has two very important abilities. First is basically a lie detection thing. He will reach out and grab someone's tongue and ask them a question. If they tell the truth, they get their energy sapped, but they live. They'll be exhausted, but you'll be fine. But if you lie, it rips out the tongue as well as their soul and kills the person for lying. Now, N would probably never lie because he's a naive guy who believes in his little truths and ideals. But so he probably won't lose his soul to this. The main reason why this guy is important is because this thing can also eat the vessels of pain. And when he does that, after a short time, he'll revive them, repairing the body completely. So this is basically the team's medic. Pain will keep this path in the back because, if any of his other paths get injured, he can always have the King of Hell get summoned, consume the injured and ineffective bodies, and replenish them. So while N probably doesn't carry revives because he doesn't really believe in training that and battling that much, so he doesn't have battle items. While his Pokemon go down, they probably won't bounce back. If the Pain path goes down, they'll be able to bounce back. And because Pain has his summons from the Animal path, which can be summoned pretty frequently, they would provide ample time to distract N for as long as they need in order to get his main paths back in the fight.
How did we jump from N doesn't like Pokemon fighting each other to he doesn't believe in medicine?
Yeah, because here's the thing about that. That's that's pretty funny. Because hang on, let me pull it up. No. N stocked with max revives.
Oh.
Yeah. N has max
I
revives.
I didn't know that. Okay, this is what I get for not reading the manga.
Yes, sir. Read the manga,
I also like
boys.
to bring up a funny comment someone said, which is, and Pain reading a Pokemon's mind, but he doesn't know how to speak Pokemon, so he just hears the Pokemon's name over and over again.
Yeah, that'd be so funny.
All right. Although that is an interesting thing.
He just hears like machinery
mind.
sound effects when he tries to read Clink Clank's mind.
It's just gear turning, and it's like, what?
Now, hang on, because
although that is a thing. Could a max
max
revive ain't gonna do much if the human path removes the Pokemon's soul from their body.
Yeah, and I don't want to get into stats yet, but yes, if a Pokemon gets their soul stolen, that is a problem. But there is another problem that I don't think you or Pain are ready for. This guy.
Oh, I'm ready for anything.
Yeah, I bet y'all forgot he was on the team, huh? So, Sigilyph is obviously he's a psychic Pokemon, and he doesn't have any standout feats by himself. He does have a lot of powerful psychic abilities, right? He can obviously manipulate gravity to a certain extent. He can move around. He has telekinesis. He also has abilities like Psywave. He also has Protect. So now you have two Protect users on the field. But the reason I bring up Sigilyph more than Dimanitan is because Sigilyph, as a genuine psychic type, can somewhat scale to the psychic abilities of some, let's say, the non-high tier psychic Pokemon. So I wouldn't say he scales to Mega Alakazam, but I would say he would scale to, let's say, Gothiel, who is also a psychic Pokemon from the same generation. This
Yeah,
is
I'll agree with that.
this is important because psychic Pokemon have the ability to essentially trace using their using the mental connections that people create. So let me pull this up. This is from the manga. This is supporting evidence, but they can do this in other Pokemon media as well. Psychic type Pokemon have the ability to essentially catch the brain waves that are being transmitted by others in order to directly locate their locations. Yeah, Sherm's making that face because I told him about this because this means N unironically has a way to find the original pain body.
Oh dear.
He can trace the brainwaves being transmitted through the chakra receptors to all the pain bodies. And he would be able to know because he can directly talk to Pokemon. So he would know what Sigilyph knows. And he would be like, so you're not actually here. And he has the ability to go and fight Pain directly. Not just the Pain bodies, but Pain Nagato's shriveled ass himself.
Would Sigilif even think to comment on this?
Sigilyph would definitely notice it because this is something that this is not just I took this example from the black and white section of the manga, but even earlier in the manga, other psychic type Pokemon have shown the ability to also sense mental waves. This is just something they can do. So Sigilyph would likely notice, and since Sigilyph is Ant's since Sigilyph is Ant's Pokemon, this is something that he can communicate to Ant.
So
very interesting.
Very, very cool ability that Sigilyph has. Is there anything else that Sigilyph can do?
Well, he also just has powerful telekinesis. So I don't, because is there really a way? I can't imagine a Pain being able to break out of telekinesis, right? At least most of them. I think that obviously the main Pain could, because the main Pain is just a stud. But the others, I'm not sure about.
Well, how does telekinesis work in Pokemon? How do people break out of it there?
I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong, but there have been Pokemon who have been able, if they're physically strong enough, they have been able to resist being like manipulated by psychic energy.
Well, but then we're gonna have to get into stats.
Yep.
But
so
before we do,
yeah,
there's one more Pokemon I got to bring up. There's one more.
Bring up the last Pokemon.
All right, go ahead.
Before Zekrom, obviously, we got to talk about Zoroark. Because I remember earlier, and this is something I also knew before the cast, that the pain bodies were susceptible to Genjutsu. Now, Zoroark's illusion ability is very different from the typical, like, it's Genjutsu, because Genjutsu in the Naruto verse, like, manipulates the chakra and the five senses of some person. That is not how Zoroark's illusions work. In fact, Zoroark can manipulate illusions in their own body even without the other person seeing them. And this is important because Zoroark can essentially set up enormous mass hallucinations in an environment to the point where he can, like, not only can they replicate very realistic scenarios, I would even debatably say on the level of Genjutsu in Naruto, but honestly, I would say even better because he can simulate giant waves of fire going. I've seen this is from the Zoroark movie if you're curious. But Zoroark in that movie was basically causing trouble and disguising itself as legendary Pokemon. And what it would do is it would create these huge mass hallucinations throughout the city of like giant waves of fire crashing through, burning things, giant waves of electricity, but none of it was real. But it felt so real that the entire city, even other Pokemon trainers like Ash, Team Rocket, and other intelligent Pokemon were like, "Oh shit, what the fuck is going on?" And this is good because Zoroark gives more deception and tactics to N. Zoroark can even disguise itself as N if it comes down to it and start fighting as him. It could disguise itself as Zekrom. It could disguise itself as any of the other Pokemon. And you might think, but why would you want to do that? Because Zoroark is strong, dude. Zoroark is like dummy strong. I don't want to talk. I don't want to because this is getting
Now
me
I'm just
fast.
imagining a scene where like one of the pains gets in, they get past all the Pokemon, they get right up to N, and then N is just like boxing with them, and they're like, "What's going on? What's happening?" And then they figure out like 20 seconds later that it was actually a Zoroark the whole time.
Yeah,
Oh,
like this is just a little taste, but like Zoroark's strong, dude. This isn't like the full scene, but Zoroark's got like crazy hands. And we're gonna get into like all of the strength of the Pokemon. Well, not all of them individually, but like the strength of the verse in general. And you know, I'm obviously saving the big guy for last, but yeah.
Mhm.
Zoroark's my boy. He's my favorite Pokemon. Mad respect. But I would not be a debater if I did not point out two flaws within Zoroark in general.
Okay.
First, he is strong, but he's a glass cannon. His defense stats are paper. You get one good blow in, and Zoroark's not going to take too many hits.
I agree with that. That's fair.
And Zoroark's illusion also has one major weakness. When Zoroark is hit, it basically turns the illusions off. So all Zoroark all of Pain would need to do to subvert this is to find Zoroark and get it once with a big AoE attack that doesn't necessarily involve being able to tell exactly where he is, but being able to just see generally where, all you need to do is get a basic estimate of where he is, and then he could drop an AoE on him. And then, that would help the other Pains escape their illusions.
Okay.
All right. I think now that we're kind of drifting towards stats, would it be safe to assume that Zekrom is where your stats arguments are going to come from?
Not really. It's gonna be from all of them, really. Pokemon is just a crazy series, dude.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. But yeah, I guess I'll go into the general things for Pain himself, and I'll get into stats while I'm at it. Or do you want to cover Zekrom and then jump into stats?
I mean, you haven't introduced the main Pain body, so.
Yeah, but the main Pain body is where all the stats are. But okay, I guess
fair.
I'll introduce the main one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't have a... Man, I should have grabbed a picture of him doing it, because like his
real quick
major
if you want.
technique... Nah, it's fine. So the main Pain body is the one known as the Deva Path. And this is Pain's favorite body. He will sacrifice any other body in order to protect this one, because it has the most powerful jutsu out of all of them, aside from this also being nostalgic because it's the body of his dead friend. So with the Deva Path, he is able to have two very important main abilities: the Almighty Push and the Almighty Pull, or the Shimigami Tensei.
Ooh, Kagura, you should like that.
Yes, I do like it. I like it a lot. Give Pain Shin Megami Tensei scaling now.
Oh my god.
All right, so he has Shin Megami Tensei scaling, which means I went, okay, kidding. But yeah. Basically, these attacks are basically Almighty Pull. They're gravity manipulation. Almighty Pull, you're able to pull things towards a center focus of gravity, which can be used to, pull enemies closer. But he can also use it for his most powerful technique, Planetary Devastation, where he makes a miniature planetoid and then drops it on the Earth. And we'll get into the main stats of that later. But it's basically just a big AoE meteor attack. Almighty Push, however, is the main deal here, because this thing has so many applications. And by using it on himself, he's able to levitate himself in the air for an indefinite amount of time. He's able to use it defensively in order to block attacks. So, all that fire or all that ice almighty push, and now it's getting pushed away. That flash cannon, almighty push it away. And
Wait,
these pushes,
it can push away flash cannon?
well, like it's basically used as defensive. So as the flash cannon is coming, he uses almighty push as a defensive maneuver, and it basically prevents things from hitting him while it's active.
This is
Even
a
a beam of
science
light?
question, but is light affected by gravity?
That's what I was gonna say.
Well, flash cannon is an energy made out of steel energy. It's not literal light.
Debatable, but okay.
Like it'd be like reflecting another kind of like force energy. But anywho,
Saul said
This
in chat
city-
that Sher was replaced by Zoroark.
So according to Einstein, according to Google, light is affected by gravity.
Oh shit! All right, well, fuck me.
all right, so Einstein's got my back. Flash cannon getting pushed.
The Einstein win con.
You hate to see
Yes,
it.
yes. He also used Almighty Push to create a giant crater within Konoha itself, which has been calced at around 99.19 megatons of force in order to create that single crater. So, if things are going south, Pain could just fly up into the sky, look at N and all of his Pokemon, and just go Almighty Push, and just slam all of them at once. And a few of his Pokemon at the very least are going to go down from that. Zekrom might be able to take it, not the other ones.
Well, I guess since you mentioned him, I think it's finally time to bring up the big guy himself. The person that I think that everyone seeing this matchup was like, hey, doesn't he just solo? It's him. It's time to talk about Zekrom, the legendary Pokemon from Pokemon Black and White. So, Zekrom obviously has the infamous statement of he is a Pokemon that is capable of destroying the world. And we're going to get into scaling later and all that. But just so you know, some people take this as a hyperbole. The scaling says this is a low ball. And that is not, it's not just Zekrom's strength that makes him scary. Zekrom also has a special ability. He has two special abilities. The first is Terravolt. Basically, you know that meme of Escanor going, my attacks have no effect on you? Who decided that? That's Zekrom. Because with Terravolt, all of Zekrom's moves will work on you, regardless of your abilities. Oh, what's that? You have a Psychic Shield up? Because you have the fairy terrain? Doesn't matter.
Zekrom solos JJK. Oh no. Gojo, get out of there.
Oh no.
What's that? You have reflected light screen up? Doesn't matter. I got you. And of course, how can I talk about Zekrom without talking about his signature ability, Fusion Bolt? With Fusion Bolt, Zekrom generates a massive, absolutely disgusting amount of electricity on himself. And people remember that Reshiram like just shoots a giant fireball, right? No. Zekrom is the ball, and he will crash towards you at high speeds and just generate a massive explosion of electricity that decimates almost anything it hits, except Reshiram, because, Zekrom and Reshiram are like the Kyogre and Groudon of Gen 5. They just go blow for blow with each other. So that's a different story. Zekrom also has, obviously, access to dragon type moves like Draco Meteor, which summons meteors out of the sky. And because he is a legendary Pokemon, we have seen in anime and manga that Draco Meteor actually does change depending on who is using it. And Zekrom being a legendary Pokemon, I genuinely am scared to imagine what happens when he realistically uses Draco Meteor. He also has access to powerful fire attack moves like Flamethrower, and just overall, he is going to be a menace to Pain. not just because of that, but because during the whole fight, for a majority of it, N is going to be on Zekrom. Meaning that if Pain wants N, he's gonna have to get through this guy first.
Would being on the back of Zekrom actually like save him from like a giant almighty push AoE?
Oh, absolutely. Because he's gonna be on Zekrom for a majority of the fight. Because that's what he
But
does.
like, but how?
Well, N rides on Zekrom.
But the push would be everywhere.
Yeah,
he's just
so
doing
he's
the
just
air.
getting pushed into Zekrom to death.
But no, I'm saying that N's gonna be on Zekrom, and Zekrom could just like fly.
But the gravity's in the air.
So
I feel like am I missing something?
let me. I want to get something like clear here. The win condition for Pain in this fight specifically is to just kill N. He doesn't have to kill the Pokemon too, right?
Yeah, but if he doesn't get rid of Zekrom, we're gonna get into stats. But he's gonna want to get rid of Zekrom, is what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Keep in mind that while this is going on, N has one Zekrom, and then as well as the other Paths of Pain, Pain also has 7 other giant beasts the size of Zekrom also fighting for him.
Yeah, I'm
not gonna say that
those beasts aren't gonna matter. I'm gonna be flat out honest with you. Those beasts aren't gonna do anything.
Look, I'm not saying they're as powerful as an individual Zekrom, but 2 to 3 of them could keep Zekrom distracted long enough for Pain to either sneak up on Zekrom and with the human path and boom, soul gone, Zekrom dead.
They're not.
Bye-bye.
They're not gonna keep Zekrom busy, dog. They're not gonna.
Although I will say one thing for you. I don't know what you're about to pull up, but there is one thing known about legendary Pokemon, and that is when they are captured in a Pokeball, their strength goes down significantly.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Zoro, because N doesn't use Pokeballs.
Okay, where is this stated? Because we see him physically release them out of his Pokemon.
So
out of his Pokeball in the game.
Yes, in the games. But as I showed before, what N uses for Zekrom is the Darkstone. N is of the belief, and I can even pull it up actually. I think I have it. N is of the belief that Pokemon should be truly free, and what reflects that belief is that he refuses to use Pokeballs for his Pokemon, and I actually have it right here. Look at that. So in the games, yes, he does use Pokeballs to carry his Pokemon, but not only does he not do this in the manga, but in the games, for Zekrom specifically, he does not use Pokeballs for Zekrom. Zekrom is just kind of like its entity lurking around and like just chilling with him. Uh-oh. Oh no.
Zoroark, when did you get here?
Wait, what's up?
Zoroark!
Sure, I think your illusion ability wore off.
Ah, shit.
Zoroark. Oh no.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh gosh, where's the Moloch? What did you do with the real
keep going with the debate. It's fine. Nothing's wrong.
Yeah, don't worry about it. But anyway, yeah. Your point that legendary Pokemon get weaker when they're caught is true, but your point that legendary Pokemon get weaker when they're caught is true, but with N specifically, Zekrom is not N's. Zekrom is just and I guess it's to say his closest ally would be the accurate way of saying it.
There are some questions being brought up in the chat. They're asking what canon we're prioritizing between the game and the manga.
So, okay, yeah. So the manga does follow a different story from the games. It's just that with the picture, we never really got confirmation on what version of N they wanted to use. And I do think that using the manga as supporting evidence, because what I'm really saying is that Zekrom is not going to be in a Pokeball. That's really all I'm going to say. Zekrom doesn't need to be in a Pokeball because Zekrom is always portrayed as just being outside with N, much like Ash's Pikachu in a way. So it's weird. So it is somewhat of a soft composite for N, but it's mainly the games, and I'm only using the manga to support stuff that N does in the games.
In Black and White 2, when Getsus takes Zekrom away from, and does he like capture in a Pokeball? Like, what does he do to fuse in with Kyurem and take control of it?
With that, this depends. There's different stuff that happens. So in the manga and also in anime and promotional stuff, like I think it was Pokemon Generations or Pokemon Evolution, uh Getsus uses a DNA splicer on Kyrium, and Kyrium forcibly fuses with Zekrom, but he doesn't catch Zekrom first. He just has Kyrium catch, like, fight Zekrom, and then uses the DNA splicer to like splice into the legendary Pokemon and fuse with them. So the Getsus doesn't catch Zekrom in the anime and manga, but in the game, I actually don't remember what he does in the games. But I think it's in the games. N comes to confront Getsus, and they fight, and in the middle of the fight, he gets fused with Kyrium. So I think either way, Getsus didn't catch Zekrom, technically.
No, he just kind of absorbed it with the DNA splicers.
Yeah.
Someone in chat is saying that N tanked a double hyper beam in the anime, so I guess we don't need to scale him to Ash. He just has that feat.
Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Still no soul resistance.
we don't need it because now we're going to talk about stats.
Stats then. Let's get into it.
Do we want to mention like Pain's big ability that's not just the gravity push and pull, like his like most powerful attack?
Oh, yeah,
Or
sure.
do we want to get into stats first?
Zoro.
You
do
mean
wanna
planetary
mention it?
devastation?
Yeah, I feel like that's somewhat relevant.
I thought you brought it up already.
Wasn't that
Yeah.
brought up?
I mentioned it briefly when going about Almighty Pull because the giant meteor is basically the culmination of his gravity techniques, but I was saving most of it for the stats debate. So I can get into that right now, actually. Can you bring up the planetary devastation image?
Yes, sir. Let me. Planetary devastation, right? Not the calc.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, got you. There you go.
All right, hold. So this is the planetary devastation. Oh wait. Oh, I forgot I had two of them. Oh, I wonder
It's called the
what
Planestation
Oh,
casually.
so you want the calc then?
Oh, I mean, we can show this one briefly first. I can go a bit more into it, but yeah.
Go ahead.
Planetary devastation is basically, like I said before, the culmination of his gravity-based techniques as it pulls in debris from everywhere and condenses it into a single planetoid. That can basically just get sent down and the boom, giant meteor, but it can also be used to seal things within inside. We've seen him use this technique to keep Naruto trapped inside a planetoid before he burst out with the Ninetales chakra. But he's also been able to use this technique to contain other ninjas, and other people who've used this technique, like Madara, when he got the Renegon bag, was able to like keep all the other major tailed beasts sealed within them. So there is an argument to be made that he could potentially keep Zekrom trapped there for at least momentarily while he jumped N. But let's get into the devastation that would be what would happen if he were to drop this thing. Can you bring up the calc pick?
Yes, I can. I already know what I'm going to say against this, but I'm going to let you cook.
Yeah,
I do have a quick question about this.
Yes.
If he uses this on Zekrom and N is on the back of Zekrom, wouldn't that be like really bad for N?
Yes, it would crush N, but at the same time, if he could take like hyper beams, I don't think the crushing alone would kill him, but it would definitely restrain him for long enough for, say, Human Path or King of Hells to come in and incapacitate
I'm just imagining
him.
N busting out like himself like he's Kurama, but it's just N.
That piece of shit. Yo.
But yeah. I mentioned before that the crater he made in Konoha was calculated to be about 99.9 megatons worth of force. The planetary devastation has since been calculated at around 172.53 megatons of force.
Wow.
And just gonna get through the rest of the stats while I'm at it. Can you pull up the Biju bomb?
Yes. But he scales it. Oh yeah, he was scaled. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. This is specifically the six-tail Biju bomb, not like
Oh.
the
Oh.
full strength one.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. In that case, yeah, I agree. Never mind.
Yeah, but I do have like a because this panel was taken from the pain fight. So yeah, Naruto and the Six Paths unleash this Biju bomb, and according to again, I got these calcs somewhere online from not versus wiki, but someone else who did a blog. So of calc, so this is just theoretical, but with this, he was able, considering he took a single Biju bomb, that means that his body can withstand up to 7.5 gigatons of force. And within that same article, he is able to keep up with Naruto in his six-tail form. And, Six Tails Naruto is pretty freaking fast. And this has been roughly scaled to sub-realistic levels of speed.
Relativistic.
So
They're,
let's
they're
just
not
say
realistic
that
levels at all. They're sub-realistic.
Sub-realistic.
yes, I don't know. It's like a tier. It's like not quite light speed, but like close to light speed. But yeah,
Right.
So yeah, I know Pokemon can be pretty strong and they can be pretty fast, but considering all that you have to do, you have 13 things to worry about: the 7 giant beasts and the 6 paths of pain. Let's just say that Zekrom is able to take any one of them. I don't think, with all of them jumping Zekrom at once, the Path of Human could outspeed anything else that's going on. Grab N, rip Soul out, game over.
I just want to establish, are we just kind of conceding and has like the AP and durability advantage? Because that's kind of what it sounds like when with the way some of these arguments are
Um.
going.
Okay. Now I think this is a good time to get into the Pokemon stats. Let's start
Yeah, go
with
ahead.
let's start with speed because this is the easy thing. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Every single Pokemon is faster than light. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. They're
Wait,
all faster than light.
wait.
I'm sorry.
Explain.
Okay.
Explain.
So I don't like this kind of scaling either, but the problem is with the way the Pokemon world works, especially in the games, all of them have the capacity to fight and dodge attacks from the other. Obviously, if you like, they brought it up in Ash versus Yugi. There are statements from the anime and also feats from the games that you could use to get the Pokemon to light speed. Like for example, you have the infamous the infamous Diglett statement. But and there are also the moves that I don't want to say they're light speed because I don't actually believe Death Battle on that part where they said like Solar Beam and Psy Beam were both light speed. Solar Beam, yes. Psy Beam, I don't know about that one. That one's weird. But even without all of that, there are Pokemon like Genesect. So Genesect is another Pokemon that comes from Gen 5, and he was modified by Team Plasma, not the bad half of Team Plasma has like two halves, a good side and a bad side. The bad side of Team Plasma manufactured and engineered Genesect and basically just made it like the Metal Sonic of Pokemon in a way. Where is my gift? Yeah. So anyway, Here's Genesect blitzing Mewtwo. And Mewtwo, if you don't know, Mewtwo is ludicrous. If Genesect is the Metal Sonic of Pokemon, Mewtwo is the Shadow the Hedgehog. Because, that matchup exists. Mewtwo is ridiculous. And I don't want to get into Mewtwo's stats, but if I were to lowball Mewtwo's speed, he is like FTL plus at a minimum, and he is like easily one of the strongest Pokemon in the verse. Up there alongside the likes of shit. Name one. Just name one. And Mewtwo probably is on that level. Except Arceus.
Okay. So my
This is
question
important
is
because again, Pokemon just kind of at least in terms of speed, because we're gonna get to strength and durability in a minute. In terms of speed, they all have the capacity to react and fight each other. They're all FTL. And they can
I
all
mean,
dodge Solar Beam. They can all fight Diglett. Zekrom, especially, should easily be on the same level as Genesect, since he is also a legendary Pokemon. He has also fought at these high levels, like in the Hoopa movie when he was fighting against Hoopa. They're all FTL. I'm sorry.
if we
No.
want to go by this logic, that's certainly a logic we can use. But if we're assuming that every single Pokemon, even like level 5 Pokemon, can technically dodge a solar beam,
Okay.
would we also and then take that to mean like that's kind of like the limit because solar beam can also hit them occasionally? So roughly every Pokemon in the verse is around the same speed of roughly light speed.
Well, if you want me to be more, if you don't want to say that all of them are FTO, you can at least say that Pokemon that have been highly trained and have, because the power of friendship is very real in Pokemon. Pokemon that have strong bonds with their trainers and have highly trained, you could make the argument that only they are FTL, and even then, all of N's Pokemon would qualify for this because not only was N able to defeat Champion Adler, and you might be thinking, well, hang on, didn't he use Zekrom to beat Champion Adler in promotional material? Yes, but see, how do I do this? Where's the image? Here it is. In the manga, here we go. All right, you see this Tepig? All right. All right.
yeah.
Let me explain what happens a little bit in the plot of the manga. See, that Tepig originally was not En's. That actually belonged to the female main character whose name is White in the manga. And she never, let me say this again, never, ever let Tepig fight. Tepig literally never fought a single time in its life until it met N. And N convinced this Tepig when they were in Castelia City, which is like midway through the story, to come with him on his journey. And Tepig left the main character. And when it did, in less than the span of a month, this Tepig was able to fight and defeat the champion's Pokemon. A Tepig, unevolved.
That's pretty cool.
Okay. Okay, that's
Okay.
a cool, strong Tepig, but
But Tepig is one of
I
the 6
have-
Pokemon you said he has, so I don't know, man.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. All of the Pokemon N have should be stronger than this stupid Tepig. Do you see where I'm going with this? Pokemon are just
okay,
faster than
brain.
light, especially the ones that are highly trained and can fight at the level of champions, which are all
I don't-
N's Pokemon.
Okay, but like having a really strong freaking Tepig, I don't see how you see that and say, ah, yes, clearly all Pokemon scale to light speed. Like,
Because they can all fight each other and all the Pokemon can dodge these light speed moves.
okay,
And,
but
and
like,
then you have legendary
you're
Pokemon
getting
like
these light
Genesect
speed-
zooming around. You have Deoxys flying across galaxies. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Okay.
Wait.
Let's
This is the first time
wait.
hearing of the Galaxy Speed feat, but I thought we were talking about like
Okay.
light speed stuff. Are we got MFTL feats up in here?
Yeah, we do,
Okay.
but I don't
MFTL
want to bring.
feats.
I don't want to bring them up because again, like Pokemon scaling is so weird, and this isn't even
Moloch,
getting into strength and
let's
stuff.
calm it down. Let's calm it down a bit because I'm about to say something. All right.
Yeah.
Like I said before, this probably wouldn't apply to Zekrom, but like Genesect and Mewtwo during that. What was that Itachi doing?
Keep going. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay. But those two legendaries that you talk of are outside of Pokeballs. And their powers get extremely better when they're outside of Pokeballs. So, like, they scale above what is the average for it. And your argument is based off of, well, because of the games, they all have a capability of fighting in at the same relativistically speed and power. But those game battles,
in the anime and manga too.
Okay, can you show me a Tepig scaling to Zekrom?
Well, I'm not saying that all of them scale to
Can
Zekrom,
you
'cause
show me a
obviously
Tepig scaling to Deoxys or Genesect or Mewtwo or what have you?
I cannot show you specifically a Tepig. Well, I guess if I used the games, I could, but I cannot show you specifically a Tepig beating a Deoxys or a Zekrom.
Then I don't see why we can apply light speed to every Pokemon based on that principle alone, since Pokemon are meant to be slower. Some of them, I will give you this, some Pokemon that are faster I'll probably buy light speed for that, especially for something like Zekrom, who does like lightning, but like
and Zoroark, but we'll get to Zoroark.
No, I wouldn't buy that. But like just saying flat out everyone gets light speed, that's ridiculous.
Okay. Now I know you just don't believe in the Pokemon scaling, because now we gotta talk about strength and stuff. So Zoroark should be relative to Raikou, Entei, and Suicune.
Okay, but like how do they get light speed?
They get light speed by virtue of fighting other legendary Pokemon. And other legendary Pokemon just naturally scale to each other. Like, I know this is weird, but this is just how Pokemon is.
What's the
Pokemon
feat we were originally scaling everyone to that has the light speed? Is it like dodging a solar beam?
Yeah, dodging solar beam, and then also beyond that, you have Pokemon that casually fly through space. I didn't want to bring up Deoxys, but Deoxys does have the funny feat of just flying through space.
I know that we're trying to be like very thorough with how we're scaling each other to everyone, but I feel like it really doesn't take that much assumptions to say like powerful Pokemon in the world can dodge a solar beam. Not even like legendary, just like Pokemon in general can do this.
Yes.
So Pokemon that are stronger than like the Unova Elite Four should easily be capable of replicating similar speed feats. Like I feel like this
and
we're being very harsh on this, but I feel like that's not an absurd
and it really
stance
shouldn't
to take.
be, because all I'm trying to say is that I was just using the Tepig as an example that all of N's Pokemon are highly trained and are clearly like the best of the best versions of that Pokemon. That's all I'm trying to say. Because all of his Pokemon can compete on a champion level. If you wanted to say that only the best of the best Pokemon are FTL, sure. But that still applies to N's Pokemon. Because N's Pokemon are the best of the best, because he was able to defeat the champion and also fight against the main character and also defeat other people in the manga, but I'm not going to count that.
All right.
And that was all speed. You got on me for speed. Oh boy. Let's talk about strength. And you know what? I'll say this, right? So you have Pokemon like Tyranitar. Tyranitar can destroy mountains. So let's say every single Pokemon except Zoroark, because I still think Zoroark's much stronger than that, except Zoroark and Zekrom are only mountain level. Let's say only they are mountain level. I'm literally lowballing the rest of the team because I want to show you something. So, just this is a little taste of what Zekroms can do. This is a taste. This is not the maximum. This is the minimum. Wait for it. And Zekrom can just spam that move over and over again. But that is not the
Oh
highest
my
this
God.
move gets.
He copied
Wait.
Deku from My Hero Academia.
Yes, he has the cloud
Wait.
feet.
Wait. What?
What's up?
Hold on. Can you play that again? I think I missed it because like
Oh,
I
you
just
missed
saw
it?
him. I just saw him burst out electricity. Like what did he do?
He cleared the massive storm and generated a massive explosion. He has the funny cloud feet scaling basically. But that's the minimum, is what I'm saying. This is the minimum of what Zekrom is capable of. Because we know that Zekrom scales without the DNA splicers, he scales to Kyrium. And Kyrium was stated that it would have the energy and power to freeze all of Unova. And I know that some people will say, "Oh, well, they were going to do that over time with the ship and the laser gun." No, no. It is implied directly many times that Kyrium, Reshiram, and Zekrom all have the capability to destroy the entirety of Unova. This is stated over and over, and this is showcased a little bit, or it was stated in I think it was either Pokemon Generations or Pokemon Evolution. I always mix those two up. And this is important because Unova's kind of humongous. Unova, if I okay, the best way to get Unova's size would be pixel scaling. But I'll admit right now, I am terrible at pixel scaling, so I cannot do this.
Isn't Unova as big as New York? Or is it bigger? I
It's
don't
No,
remember.
Castelia
it's
City.
based off New York. It's not
Yeah.
equivalent to the size.
Oh, I'm sorry. My
And
bad.
if anything,
No,
only
you're all good.
Castelia City would be like around that size. Because as you can see, this is like an enormous region with mountain ranges, entire rivers and ocean, gigantic bridges, gigantic cities. Like Unova is huge. And Zekrom, like I think we can all agree that this is like way bigger than the Leaf Village.
And way bigger than New York, I'm guessing.
I would assume so, yes.
Maybe I missed the page here. Weren't we talking about like Zekrom having like planet level AP before? Why are we
We're
on
building
like the
I'm
topic of
building
country
up
level
to it.
stuff? Oh, okay. Sorry,
I'm
sorry.
building up to it because I don't want to get into the big stuff right away. So the reason I bring this up is because even at a minimum baseline, just going off of what we know from the games, you can get Zekrom to continental to debatably multi-con just from being able to destroy Unova.
Okay, I'm gonna wait to debate until I see the planetary arguments because it's one thing to say it could destroy all of Unova, but like I don't think it could be like there's nothing to imply that it'd be like one attack, boom, Unova gone. It could be just if let
Yeah.
loose, it could over time destroy Unova.
I mean, that's the same way for a lot of the Biju, but uh with the planetary statements, this is where we got to get more into that messy Pokemon scaling because Zekrom was in the battle against Hoopa. And if you don't know who Hoopa is, Hoopa, I don't have a picture of Hoopa. Hoopa is essentially this Pokemon, and you can see I'm getting a headache already. Hoopa is essentially this Pokemon that has the ability to create portals to other worlds and realities, and it can like do it at a whim by slinging these rings around. And for a majority of the time, Hoopa is restrained. when Hoopa is unbound, they are powerful enough that even some. Oh, thank you, Sherm. Yeah, that's what Hoopa looks like when it is restrained. When Hoopa is not restrained by its rings, it is powerful enough to contend with powerful legendary Pokemon like Giratina. And Giratina is essentially the Satan of Pokemon. I really don't want to do this. And
Then
Zekrom was in that final battle with Hoopa and was able to fight against Hoopa. Zekrom could theoretically scale to a lot of the top tier legendary Pokemon in Pokemon, and therefore, not just planetary, you can even get him to Universal.
okay, so let me just say this. In this fight with Zekrom, how much work is he doing? Like,
Enough
was
that
Hoopa...
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, go on.
No, so
But-
yeah, the Hoopa movie is a bit contentious, and this is why I don't like to use it. This is why I wanted to give the minimum for Zekrom first, because the minimum has a lot more concrete evidence for him being able to like destroy like multiple continents. Like that has a lot more concrete evidence for it. The Hoopa movie is a lot more ambiguous because it's a whole bunch of legendary Pokemon all jumping Hoopa because Hoopa is really strong. So you had Zekrom and Reshiram, you had Regagigos, you had other legendary Pokemon. They were Hoopa was basically a raid boss, and all of them were doing their best to fight against it.
All right. So, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, if multiple legendaries are fighting alongside each other to stop specifically Hoopa, that just says more about Hoopa's strength in general than Zekrom being able to scale to that, because that's not Zekrom on his own at fighting Hoopa who can do these things. That's like a bunch of people being needed to take down this universal force, if
Yes,
that's what
but
I'm hearing.
it's the fact that Zekrom can even harm Hoopa at all is the problem. That's kind of like what I'm getting at here. Yes, they all need work together to do Hoopa, but it's the fact that Zekrom can do anything to Hoopa. That's like what I'm getting at here. Zekrom can actually participate and harm Hoopa and help.
Okay, but he's not scaling to the extent of Hoopa's power.
Again, man, it's the Pokemon scaling. I'm really holding. I don't want to do it. The Pokemon scaling is dumb, dude. They all scale to each other.
No, but like, it's just like a... That's like saying that the Spirit Bomb, because people contribute and gather their power to a Spirit Bomb, that everyone who contributed then scales to it. That's not how that works. You're helping
No, that's
build
not.
strength
It would
in
be
a
more
group,
accurate. I think a
take
more
someone
accurate
down.
comparison would be like Vegeta fighting Majin Buu. That would be a more accurate comparison.
Okay, and Majin Buu was able to kick everyone's butt until the Spirit Bomb came in. So it's like...
That's another thing
that-
too. Zekrom would scale to getting hurt by Hoopa as well, because he was taking attacks from Hoopa too.
All right, but that implies that every single attack Hoopa does is at a universal level, which I have thoughts on.
Hey man, hey, don't get mad at me. Get mad at Pokemon.
These are just very... I'm
Like,
not sure
listen.
I'm personally buying the scaling chain here.
Listen, it's not even just me. This isn't like just a me thing. Pokemon has had this problem with scaling for a long ass time. And when I say a long time, I mean hella long. Like, even right now, even though I hate to use them, even the versus battle wiki has Zekrom at fucking Galaxy. And I don't agree with that.
And
I know.
now you've lost me, because
I know,
versus Battle
exactly.
Wiki
I
lies
hate
all
them.
the time.
I hate them, but the problem is I know where they're getting it from. That's the problem. I can see where it's coming from. Because
But like,
Pokemon just has the stupidest chain scaling of almost any series I've seen except for like Power Rangers.
okay, so like, no, I get the idea you're saying, but like, sorry, Charlie Hurst. Oh gosh, my leg.
Ooh, are you okay?
So I was just sitting at an awkward angle. Okay, I'm good
Oh.
now. But like, I see the argument you're trying to make, but like, if it takes multiple of these continental, let's just I'm gonna humor you and say continental, even though like,
Humor me. He had okay.
but
I
like,
mean, it's more
if we
directly
go,
stated that he is, but okay.
okay, but like,
I
saying
think we've
he can
kind of.
destroy the Unova.
I think this topic is kind of starting to go in circles, more or less.
It
Where,
is.
like, I think
It
this
is.
boils down to in the Hoopa movie, Zekrom was there and everyone was fighting each other, which would imply everyone has some level of downscaling. That's
More or
kind of up
less.
to the person whether or not they buy it or not. I don't know if we'll get much further in this conversation at this point.
It
All right,
is.
fine.
It is kind of. It is a bit iffy, in my opinion, to say that Zekrom is exactly comparable to Garatina, but I will say that I do think, well, Zekrom would, at very minimum, downscale.
So
Again, it's not
just my
me.
opinion.
It's just Pokemon being stupid. That's it.
the people want to know in the chat how Pain compares at this point.
I think
I mean,
like the fact that you can see I'm trying to restrain the Pokemon chain scaling, you can kind of see that. At least with Zekrom, he doesn't.
I think Pain is stronger than most of the Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah,
Zekrom is the big issue.
And
But
debatably Zoroark, but
Zoroark is not like Entei, Suicune, Raikou legendaries. Yes, they do not scale to the higher tier legendaries within the Pokemon world.
they don't. But I think he's swinging a lot harder than people give him credit for. I think Zoroark is.
I'll
Gonna
give
be
you
pulling
that.
A lot more weight than people think.
Yeah, like Zoroark will probably be at least more valuable than everything else, but let's keep things on Zekrom because, like, considering Pain is able to keep up with Ninetales Naruto, at least up to like the Six Tails, like,
I was gonna say.
I don't know,
yeah,
like,
I'm
I'm
if I
not
remember correctly,
buying like.
didn't he get Tom and Jerry'd in the middle of the fight?
I think it was he was beating Six Tails and then was losing to Eight Tails was generally how that fight was going.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
But like neither were like completely overpowering the other. So I guess you could say like Pain is probably equal to a Seven Tails Naruto, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. So like even if Zekrom has the general edge in strength against raw AP against Pain, it wouldn't be to the point of where, you know, Zekrom's like one-shotting people. And at that point, it's just a matter of getting an opening to get close enough to Zekrom to rip out its soul.
That means you're gonna have to match us in speed, though.
that is true.
So are we just like
the soul
conceding
stuff that requires on speed. So you're gonna have to get close to a Pokemon and hold on to them long enough that you can rip out their soul. That requires speed. And you're no offense, but you're like you got them to relativistic. Pokemon are like we all like have come to the conclusion that bare minimum light speed is Pokemon. Bare minimum.
Like, not like almost light speed can still keep like, yes, they're different speed tiers, but if I'm like at almost light speed and you guys are at light speed, the speed is not that great enough to where I cannot like keep up with you.
I mean, you say that, but bro, I'm saying that that's the bare minimum. We're faster than light. That's what I'm. Okay.
No, you are not faster than light.
We are. I'm like, okay, nah. I'm sorry, but
I think we're beginning the stats is kind of just starting to I think we're talking this into the ground more or less.
Yeah.
We are.
fucking hate
Unless you have
Pokemon
any
stats.
higher arguments for the Naruto speed, I think we're kind of settling on the. At least, obviously, it's per person. Everyone can be convinced by something else. But at least it kind of seems to me that we've got Solar Beam level speed for Pokemon and relativistic speed for Naruto. And that's kind of where it's ending up.
I do know that
Yeah.
Naruto does have light speed, but I don't know if Pain scales to that.
Yeah, like Pain relatively smaller. I mean, he can actually. Nagato is able to keep up with Ninetales Naruto after he fuses with it as Nagato. So could make the argument he could scale to that speed wise, which would get him up there.
Nah, I feel like even that's okay. I think
Oh, are you saying that's a stretch with all the stretching you've been doing today, sir?
it's not stretching. It's just Pokemon, dude. Like you have to understand. I don't even like it. I don't like it. The problem is it's there and it's everywhere. That's the problem.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna continue the circle for a round, so I think we're getting near the end of this.
Is there anything else in the arsenal we wanted to talk about?
Anything else? Any last minute abilities or?
I talked about Vanillix freezing them and Darmanitan beating them up or melting them. Protect. I talked about Sigilyph and what psychic Pokemon could potentially do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm good.
I guess I do just have a couple. Zora, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say I'm good too. I went over all the main paths and whatnot.
I guess I just have a couple questions then before we move on. So Pain just has to kill N. We're kind of settling on that.
Yeah,
what happens if N just like kills all the Pain bodies but can't? Let's say he just doesn't figure out that like he doesn't figure out the connection in time and he just like kills them all first. What happens at that point?
Well, the King of Hell would come and resurrect him, I think, right?
But one of the Pain bodies has to be alive for that, doesn't it?
Well, Nagato's alive, and Nagato has access to all 6 paths. Like, he can conjure all of any technique from either his or their bodies. He just likes to keep them separate on the Pain bodies. But when Nagato fights B and Naruto, we see him growing the paths of the Ashra arm and using human techniques on his own body. So if all the Pains get destroyed and then En's like, okay, I'm done here, then Nagato could easily resurrect the King of Hell, repair his bodies, or find 6 new bodies to restore, and then, go back for round 2 with a better understanding of how to take N down.
Could he do that in time for, like, to say it's the same fight, or would that be, like, the next day?
Probably next day.
So it would technically be a win for N then.
There was a poll. I didn't even see you did this, sir. There was a poll in the chat that says, how do you feel about Zekrom scaling to Giratina? And 70% of the chat said, seems fine. Again, it's not me. And I see J-Lag in the chat because he's saying he hates Pokemon now. I know I might come up as a bit aggressive, but I do love Pokemon, and I love it a lot. It's just that Pokemon scaling is very all over the place. Yeah. And that's kind of where most of my frustration comes from. That's kind of why I didn't really talk about stats at first, is because we were going to get into all of this messy stuff.
So the win con for N is basically beating the shit out of Nagito. And the win con for Nagito is just killing N.
Yeah.
That is basically it. So
it kind of seems to me that just destroying all the Pain bodies, like if he was just like disintegrate them, that would also probably constitute a win because it would take Nagato some amount of time to put together another fighting force.
That is also true.
Maybe.
So N would have 2 win cons then in that case, which is either finding Nagato or beating all the Pain bodies until they can't get back up again.
Well, I guess not even doing that. We just have to like destroy them completely because they're dead bodies, so they're gonna keep coming back regardless.
I guess my last question is: what happens if Nagato brings the Ghetto Mazo into the equation?
I mean, I don't think Nagato has summoned Getomazo at all. That would definitely be an interesting turn of events.
He did
If you
it in the
want,
flashback. That's how he when the Rain Village killed his homie.
So it seems to me, with everything involved, I think we discussed a lot of the fight already, but should we get to final arguments? Sure.
I mean, I guess yeah. If we don't have anything to say about the Ghetto Mazo, then we can just move on. I just thought that was interesting to me personally.
Okay.
I forgot he could do that, so I did not prepare for that. So if I lose because of that, that's on me.
All right.
I don't remember what the Ghetto Mazo does, so that's on me too.
I think it just kind of shoots chains out and like steals people's souls.
Yeah, it basically gives him another like win con for like soul removal. Although you might be able to restrain Zekrom with it because it has been able to restrain the 9 beasts, tailed beasts with it.
It is technically the carcass of Kaguya, if I remember correctly.
All right, so I guess we get into final.
I guess we can move into final arguments now.
Moloch,
Yeah.
what is your final argument for natural winning this?
I can throw the poll on Moloch. You just worry about the final argument.
Yeah, so my final argument for natural harmonia gropius. Is it gropius or gropus?
Gropius.
My final argument for natural harmonia gropius is that while Pain definitely has a lot of hacksy abilities and a lot of ways to do significant AoE that could hurt ends Pokemon. The problem is not only do a lot of my Pokemon also have large AoE moves that they can use to their advantage, like Vanillix's Blizzard, and not only do a lot of are allowed them strong enough to fight close up, hands on, personal, like Darmanitan, who could potentially just melt a Pain from how hot he is. But we also have Pokemon that have moves like Protect that can constantly protect our Pokemon. We have Zoroark who can cast massive giant illusions everywhere to help distract and create illusions on the battlefield. And finally, if all else fails, like let's say the almighty push happens, Zekrom's almighty fusion bolt is just gonna come in and just devastate and be a stud. And N himself will also be fine because he'll mostly just be around Zekrom anyway. And also that argument of Sigalith tracking down Nagato using the mental brainwaves to track them, that is also something that could very realistically happen. So even if it comes down to having to defeat Nagato, there is a way that N can do that. So with all of that considered, and also just the massive, because all the Pokemon should be faster than the majority of the Pains, and we know for a fact that Zekrom is very incredibly strong. I am very confident in N's ability to bring pain to his opponent.
All right, then, Zoro, what's your final argument?
All right, final argument. All right, so my final argument is that, even, if Pokemon are able to speed and, Zekrom is going to be undoubtedly stronger than Pain. But all Pain needs to do is take End down. And between all his massive summons with his giant animals, his soul removal hacks, and, just each individual Pain being their own kind of like field of vision of awareness and having their own strength to them, all Pain would need to do is get one of them up to N, which I think, given all the crazy tricks he has, N isn't going to realize all the intricacies of like almighty push and whatnot. So between all 13 guys helping Pain out, he is going to make an opening to get his one shot in to take N down, and then it's just a I cannot say that word. It would be a simple matter just to take out the rest of the Pokemon after the commander has been taken care of. and not all Pokemon gets light speed. Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Man, I really hate to break it to you, but they really do. I'm sorry. They really do. But even then, we agreed that the higher tiers do, and all of Pokemon's and all of N's Pokemon would qualify as that. So, even if you
I
don't
know.
agree
I
with
just
that,
wanted to get one more in for the road.
that's fair.
Okay. Then I guess, Sherm, are we ready to give our opinions?
I suppose we are. I think this debate is more interesting than the chat seems to be giving it credit for. I think like the Pokemon might have a slight speed advantage, but I don't think like if we're going by the solar beam logic, I don't think it would be like a huge advantage. I think it would just be like they have like a solid maybe 2 times speed advantage, not like some crazy
That's
anything or
fair.
else.
That's fair. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got a little lost in the sauce in terms of like where ends non-legendary Pokemon skill because I kept hearing things like N himself would be too durable for Pain to kill because of the hyper beams. But also, I think you also said that that Nagato was more powerful than his other Pokemon. So I kind of got a little confused. It seems like the logic was N himself is more powerful than his Pokemon at some point.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure how we got there.
I did get a little lost in the sauce with Zekrom, so I do apologize for that.
So,
Uh, I did say that you could generally scale most of his other Pokemon to Tyranitar, and Tyranitar is like a mountain buster. If you want to give that to them like as a minimum, so yeah, I would say that Nagato himself should be stronger than the majority of Ent's Pokemon, except maybe Zoroark.
okay. So like they'd be stronger, but it wouldn't be like an absurd gap. It'd be like they could damage each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think the way the abilities interact is very interesting. I think the big disadvantage for Pain when it comes to like the 6v6 is it kind of seems like all 6 events Pokemon are like good at fighting in their own right. Whereas the Pain bodies are like we have Taijutsu and we have a specific ability, and this specific ability lets us like one is the designated healer, for example. One is the one that like deflects attacks. Whereas it seems like Ends Pokemon, they can all kind of throw down. So it kind of seems like if each of Ends Pokemon were to 1v1 a Pain path, it seems like most of the Pain bodies would be on the back foot because they don't have as many offensive capabilities. Even if they are stronger, they would be slightly slower. So it's like even if they would have even fights, the Pokemon would have the advantage in that. Um, I'm trying to think of like their one shot capabilities where like the Almighty Push and the Ghetto Mazo, the Planetary Devastation. It kind of sounds like we've been saying that N is durable enough to survive these attacks.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Which
whoa! I wouldn't go that far. Whoa, 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 whoa!
I thought that's what we said. I thought we said that like if N was on the back of a Zekrom and then Zekrom was targeted with the Planetary Devastation, N wouldn't get killed by the rocks that were being slammed into him. All right. Well, all right. Now
Yeah,
I'm confused, but
yeah,
I'm just saying we've had our time to debate. So this is just what I've gotten from this conversation, and has the durability to survive that. So if I'm wrong, then I guess I listened wrong. But that's what I got from the conversation. And if he does have the durability to survive those kinds of attacks, I think Zekrom kind of just blows all the pains up. So unfortunately, I do think if N can die to those attacks, then I think he would lose. In which case, I must reveal myself to be on the. No, I'm just kidding. I'm voting for N.
Okay.
As for me, so obviously we given Pain SMT scaling, so he one shots. I'm just joking. All right, but for real, so this is a far more complex debate than I originally thought it was gonna be. And it's mostly because both sides have a lot of abilities they can throw at each other and a lot of different factors that need to be considered. So, on one hand, seems to have the raw power advantage when you factor in all of his Pokemon and all of the insane abilities that they have. But however, Nagato seems to have the skill and the hacks advantage, I would say, with the soul removal. None of N's Pokemon can resist having their soul removed, not even Zekrom.
Sure.
However, with the 2-3 times speed gap, it does make things significantly harder for Pain to pull those tricks off. So, I will say, if you hadn't mentioned the fact that N is always with Zekrom, I would have probably given it to Pain. But since you did, I am not certain if Pain could get around the big problem that is Zekrom. Because Zekrom is just way too much of a powerhouse. And he's also way too much of a monster that Pain's other monsters just don't really compare. As for N's other Pokemon, I could see all of them giving a good fight, but eventually being defeated by the other bodies of Pain. But Zekrom is just on a whole nother level. So, unfortunately, Zoro, I am gonna have to give this thanks to the slight edge of N being with Zekrom always. I'm gonna give this to N. If N was by himself, though, for the majority of the fight, I could see Pain doing some crafty tactic and just one-shotting him, but unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case.
I know when you say by yourself, you just mean like he was on the ground like a Pokemon trainer, but I like to imagine it's just N with no Pokemon versus all the Pain bodies.
Yeah.
I will say though, there have been times where N has gotten off of Zekrom, so it's not like a constant thing. But I do think he will be riding on Zekrom for a fair portion of the fight.
You want me to end the poll?
If you want.
Yeah,
Put me out of my misery.
that is the big problem that unfortunately Pain is going up against. He has to get around Zekrom to get to N, and I just don't see how he can do it.
Ah, man.
I will
I'm
say,
sorry, Zoro.
I don't think we need to give Zoro pity. I think they argued a pretty good case for themselves for the most part. I do think that this debate has some.
Why'd you spell Gropius like that?
I didn't know how to spell it. I just spelled it how my brain told me to spell it.
I think it's a O instead of a U at the end.
It shouldn't be an E at all.
All right. Well, anyway, I think like there's some interesting arguments for Pain. I think the almighty push and the planetary devastation potentially taking N out are solid arguments, and I think the idea of like Nagato being able to bring Pains back to life and then send them into the field like a mile away from where the fight's even happening is interesting. If we bring the Ghetto Mazo into the question, I think the question of if even Zekrom could resist the Ghetto Mazo hacks, I think there's a lot of interesting discussions to be had.
Yeah.
And
This
I
is
think there are
definitely-
higher arguments for Naruto's AP and speed scaling, even in the Pain arc, which could.
Yeah,
this
I will
very
say if we had like the complete full information of both series right here on the table, the debate could be a lot different than what we see now.
True.
Because I will say I've been part of Naruto debates for like my entire versus career, so I had a lot of different thoughts for different ways to argue Pain being higher
But
than where we placed
it's not a
in debate.
complete wash. Like
Yeah.
N doesn't completely stomp Nagato or
Yeah.
Pain at all.
Because again,
I
like,
genuinely at certain points was gonna vote for Pain. It just the end arguments went out in the end for me.
Yeah,
and,
I
like, 'cause
was.
even then I didn't like because you say like the higher end arguments are there for Pokemon, but I still present the low like the reasonable low ends like Continental Zekrom, because I think that with those you have a much more healthier debate. It's just that eventually, when you look at all of the, you know, the other scaling for Pokemon that you can't really ignore, then it starts to get like kind of out of hand.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was kind of surprised you didn't argue for like any of like the. You kind of went like from mountain straight to universal. I'm surprised you didn't argue for any like Groudon scaling or just like some
Yeah,
like
there are
Pikachuns with
planet level
quick feet.
feats that you could use for
Yeah, I mean,
Pokemon.
hey, I could have, but I'm like, listen, I was trying to use feats where it was either a Pokemon from Gen 5 doing it that Zekrom could upscale to, or it was a feat that Zekrom himself had. That's why I was like kind of focusing on like only the
Okay.
feats that the Pokemon themselves did, except for the Tyranitar one, because almost any Pokemon can scale to Tyranitar at this point. So
Yeah, Tyranitar is a stats merchant for every Pokemon.
he really is.
I will.
It's
I will
crazy.
say I do like this matchup a lot now. I think at what we've seen from Ash versus Yugi, I really like the idea of seeing like a bunch of Ends Pokemon. I know he limited to 6, but I think we could like give him like maybe like 10 or so of like his Pokemon. And they're just
Especially
like
if like
running
he
around
doesn't.
fighting the pain bodies because they both have 3D models, so the Deathbattle could do a very similar thing as
True.
what they did with Ash versus Yugi.
Especially since N doesn't really use his Pokeballs, like that gives him more of an excuse to use more of his arsenal since he's not really abiding by the 6 Pokemon per in a ball rule anyway because he doesn't use them. So like they just got his back.
Someone in chat said, "Just give N boxing gloves."
Fine, I'll do this.
I will say, Pain does win in one category though. He has a way better name. I'm
True.
sorry, I cannot take N's true name seriously.
Yes.
I don't know. I think I'm remembering Gropius for a while. I think this matchup's cool thematically. I like the 6v6 potential. I just kind of like it aesthetically because like Ends in all white and Pain has his black outfit and it's orange hair versus green hair. That doesn't super important, but I just like these characters standing next to each other aesthetically. I think it looks cool.
Also, N's theme. I really like N's battle music. It's
awesome.
Amazing battle music. Yeah.
Oh, and the Akatsuki theme, like, could you imagine like the track for this with like the Naruto like choir and with like, you know, the black and white themes and instrumentals? Like that track would be very cool.
That'd be sick.
Like this, I think this matchup is pretty cool. I'm gonna argue for Pain versus Zemnis until the heat death of the universe, but like this is a really I think this would be my second pick for a Pain matchup. Like this, there are a lot more going on than what initially seems like on the surface.
I think I also like that this matchup just has a very natural start to it because we know that Pain and the Akatsuki are hunting for the tailed beast, so they could like be going after Zekrom because they detect it's on the same level as them, and like you have a natural start to the fight there.
Like N just defeated Alder and he thinks he's like expecting like Herbert to show up, but then it's like we just see like the 6 paths of Pain descending on the castle.
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
Especially since one believes in peace, one is inflicting as much pain.
I am picturing that scene in my head, and I'm picturing like N looking up to see all the Pains just aura farming and looking down on him.
I didn't pull it up. I didn't pull it up. N aura farms too, dude. I didn't pull it up. Oh my god.
Oh, let's see it.
So this was right after he beat the champion, and the main character was trying to stop him from getting away. Look at this shit, dude. Just N absolutely mogging the Pokemon. It's crazy.
Do you really think that someone like you can win against me?
And then you got Embor's big ass stepping back like, yo, hold on. Like, yo.
Okay, yeah. He has a good aura farming game, I'll give him that.
So can he only understand Pokemon, or can he just understand like all animals too?
Well, only there aren't any animals in Pokemon, remember?
Pokemon are animals.
Well,
I mean, there are Pokemon in the Pokemon. I mean, there are regular animals in the Pokemon world. Mostly within like the first gen, it's kind of something they slowly.
I think it
went
wasn't
quiet
that
about.
retcon though, so that's no longer the case.
Those might just be Pokemon we haven't discovered yet, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know they mentioned like in Gen 1, really early Gen 1 was supposed to be because the Pokemon world originally was not supposed to be a fantasy world. It was just supposed to be our world.
Mm.
But then over time, I think Game Freak started retconning it so that it was not our world at all.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever hard confirmed out loud saying there are no animals, but and because of like the Gen 1 things of of actual animals showing up in like the first anime and whatnot, so until they flat out say, yeah, we've changed this and it's been retconned, it's technically still a thing, even if we don't see much of it anymore.
I think someone in chat just said it was retcon.
I
Oh,
think-
all right, never mind then.
The real bold move would be to eventually retcon that there aren't any normal plants either. That's also all Pokemon.
You know, another weird
and then
thing about
eventually we'll just live in a
the
world where everything is Pokemon.
Ew.
another
Oh,
weird thing
Pokemon
about
all
the
the way
Pokemon,
down.
the Pokemon world, really early on in Gen 1, Lieutenant Surge mentioned there was a war, and we never get anything other than that.
Oh,
Yeah,
there have been a lot of wars in Pokemon though, because there was a war in Gen 5 too.
And
Oh.
the ancient war back in Gen 6 where the ultimate weapon was used. So,
As a kid,
there
I
are a couple
always
wars.
remembered, you know, the
Probably-
Lucario Secret of Mew movie? I always remember in the beginning of that one where we see like Onyxes and Machamps just like covered in like medieval armor going at it.
That war that the Lucario and Sir Riley fought in was probably the same one with the Ultimate Machine. Because I think the armor
Ooh.
designs were similar to the ones shown in the flashbacks in the X and Y.
That's interesting.
That's possible.
Yeah. Pokemon's pretty cool, even if the chain scaling is frustrating.
Zoro, I listen, man. I'm on your side. It's just that I got a debate to do, and I can't.
No,
exist this.
I get it, and I was also coming on hard in my defense. It's just I was trying to give my boy fighting chance.
No, look, bro. I think you did a good job pushing me because honestly, like you were poking at the holes into chain scaling. Like I'm actually really happy you were doing that. I'm happy.
Yeah, 'cause, like-
I'm happy you challenged it.
Yeah, because like I'm a big Pokemon fan. I love it. I do believe that some Pokemon are capable of that, but I also believe that like there are tiers in Pokemon strength, and that they don't like universally scale to each other. So yeah.
Otherwise,
it's
you
like-
get Universal Pikachu.
Hey, man,
Exactly. Or like
Pikachu
we
stopped
have
War
a
of time.
I
that
think
specific
Pokemon-
Pikachu can. The majority of Pikachu probably not.
I think Pokemon scaling is very interesting because there's several different
Angles
ways
you
to
can take.
approach it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it really does come down to like how you choose to interpret things. Like
The solar
there-
beam speed thing is interesting because we see like in both the games and the anime, multiple Pokemon can dodge it. But also that's not something exclusive to like high level evasion or anything. That's just kind of like
It's just
so
a
like
chance.
theoretically a level 5 Tepic could dodge like a level 40 Pokemon solar beam.
Yep.
Which the implication would just be like high tier Pokemon can do this, but also like that's not special to high tier. That's just like all Pokemon are roughly that light speed. So
At
it would be
least-
like
at least
it
for
would be a
React.
limit as well because you couldn't argue like high tier Pokemon are like 100 times faster than like because they can also be tagged by this.
I
light
can't
speed
believe
attack if you took
Eevee
that
speed
logic to
blitzes
its
Homelander.
logical conclusion.
He does. Hey, don't get mad at it, bro. Eevee speed blitzes Homelander. Homelander is a Pokemon victim.
That is until he fights Superman in the new DC KO event.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh no, I forgot about that.
Wait. Ash once met Superman in a WB crossover promotion.
Well, yeah, but that's
True.
WB Superman. Homelander's getting the Rebirth Superman scaling.
GG's.
No.
I think,
Well, I
think
tried.
that's
I
good.
tried. I'm sorry.
This was
Pokemon
a
fans.
fun stream. Yeah.
Yeah, I had fun. You have earned this victory, Sir Marulak. I applaud you for doing my boy N justice.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you
Yeah.
for bravely repping pain.
If it's any condolences, Zoro, I do not think this battle was a complete wash in N's favor.
Yeah,
I think it's a pretty debatable matchup in all honesty.
Yeah.
it is. It really is because
Yeah,
Pokemon
yeah, like-
scaling is weird.
And if I had a better grasp on like Naruto scaling, then I probably could have argued a bit better on the side of N. So this
You
would
should
be
have done
very.
what Kagura did and argued that pain scales to Toneri.
Oh
Okay,
my
but
god!
I also like. I don't like
Ah.
debate. I like to keep things. Yeah, because like I relatively like to keep things simple on the cast. I save the deep dives for when I'm being paid to do it.
Fair. All right. Well,
With
everybody.
all that said, we have another cast coming up later today in like 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah, what's the other one happening today?
Xenos from Final Fantasy XIV versus Darth Nihilus from Star Wars.
All right.
Yes.
So yeah, be sure to come in about 2 hours to check that out if you have the time. If not, the stream is always archived. So
Yeah.
all right. Thanks for having me, and it's been fun. I guess we'll wrap things up.
Yep. Everyone say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Oh wait, how do I end it? There we go.
You hit